Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Bhavatapa Pranashinne, Ananda Ghanamurtaye, Jnana Bhakti Pradayinne, Matastubhyam Namo Namaha. Jai Ma, Jai Ma. I hope all of you are well, safe, protected from the COVID. It's very deadly what's going on. Okay, this episode is going to be much later because, like I said, I record everything and keep. So this is going to be the 109th episode, and lots of them have gone by then. So I don't know when I give you the 109th episode whether the COVID will still be there, or I hope it's gone. But let's see what Ma wills. You see, today I thought I will talk on the food protocol for ascetics and how to cook and serve them, It's very important. I'm doing this cooking channel, so all of you might be wondering why I'm doing the cooking, you see. Like I said, I've said plenty of times earlier that I never knew how to cook, okay? And then I learned, and I'm so glad I did learn, because there were so many ascetics who would come into this house where I live over here, and I would be serving bhog to them. If I didn't know cooking, I wouldn't be able to do I wouldn't have done any of that, right? I would be totally foxed. This house was blessed, has been blessed by so many Mahatmas and ascetics, they have all walked into this house, and I have served them bhog. I have made food for them, me and my mother both, my mother was there that time. And the house was, I remember this was 2005, it was my birthday. And I was so blessed that, that time I wasn't a sadhu or anything. All these Mahatmas and ascetics, had come to wish me. So there was Swami Bhaskaranandji, Swami Nirvananji, Swami Jyotirmayananji, Vasudevananji, then the ladies from Kanyapit. I might have forgotten some names, I don't remember now. But lots of them and lots of devotees were here. And they were all going to be eating here. I had to make a bhojan for everybody. So it was like, the whole house was like a mela, it was really like a mela. People were in all the rooms, it was like that. And this particular room where I'm sitting, today it's my room where I sleep and everything, I had moved out all the furniture from this room. There was no bed, nothing. Because generally when the ascetics come for food, they don't sit on the dining table and eat. They sit on the floor, and you have to put patlas and everything for them. Now the entire house is crowded, So I was wondering what I should do and how I should serve. There are certain Mahatmas and certain saints who sit on the table. It's not like that. But most of them prefer to sit on the floor, on the patlas, So I had emptied this room completely. And they were all in this room on the floor. This room is so blessed, all of them were sitting here and eating. And I had made, me and my mother both, had made bhojan, because when you are cooking for them, you have to first clean the entire kitchen with Ganga Jal and the gas and everything. Your maids and everybody, they have to be out of the kitchen. You have to be sitting, chopping, cutting, cooking, everything yourself, you see. Because some of them generally eat from the hands of a Brahmin, and I then had to hire a Brahmin cook also, because there were so many other people, devotees also, who were eating here. So for so many people, for the two of us to handle was very difficult. So we had hired a Maharaj, like a chef, like a proper professional chef, and they're generally Brahmins. So the whole house was like unbelievable. The vibrations were so good and the energy was so good. And they all were sitting in this room and having bhojan, So at that time when you're cooking for them, you have to make a lot of pakwans, because they are coming to you, they are Atiti Devo Bhava, right? They are the gods who have entered your house. तो उनके लिए तो बहुत कुछ बनाते हैं हम लोग. सब्जियां होती है, दाल, कड़ी, पुलाव, पूरी, then bhajia or some farsad, in Gujarati we call it farsad. So lots of things are cooked, The first thing I used to do is maa ko wo bhog chadta tha. And then I would remove the thali from the mandir and then serve it to them, So now supposing you have only so much food, obviously when you're serving ma, it's not going to be all the utensils you're not going to put in the mandir. You put a separate thali for ma, right? So what do? You take out little food, whatever you've cooked, and put it in your main utensil. What you have cooked in, and all the food that you have cooked, so that everything becomes a prasad. Because maa ka thoda har jagah chala jata hai, in all utensils, So the whole thing is a prasad. So they were all eating over here. We were serving, my mother and I were serving them. And I remember that day what had happened is Swami Nirvananji didn't want to eat anything. I was so disappointed because he said his tooth was paining. So he suddenly said, Suji bana ke lao. Oh God, I ran to the kitchen and I told the Maharaj, take out suji. He says, do we have suji in the house? I said, you just check right away. By the time we found the suji in the house and cooked and everything, it took some time. Obviously, you take out something, stop the other things because they were all eating together, in this room. And you suddenly stop cooking everything else, puri banana ya sabzi garam karke dena ya whatever, you have to stop all the food because I had to suddenly make this for Swamiji. So by the time I cooked the suji and brought it to the room, he had already eaten the bhog, the prasad that I was, I had given to everybody. And I suddenly looked at him and I said, your tooth was paining. And he ate the puris and the sabzis and everything. And he had just got up. I said, why are you getting up? I've got you the suji that you wanted. He says, abhi maine kha liya. You have to be so vigilant, when they are here. Because you never know, somebody may want something and somebody may want something else. Now, if you don't know cooking, what are you going to do? Very difficult. So please learn everything. I'm showing you all the recipes and whatever, you should learn. There are lots of people I know who will say, Arey, we don't need to learn, our maid will do it. Okay, fine, the maid will do it or your cook will do it. But supposing tomorrow you have the chance and you are blessed that a Mahatma walks into your house and says, I'll have food over here. What will you do? You must learn. Now there are certain sadhus that I know, there are certain brahmacharis also that I know of. Now when you serve them water or a drink or something, you have to give it in their hand only, just serve it that way. The moment, supposing the person is busy and you have the glass in your hand and you say, okay, I have to attend to 2 more people, so let me put it on the table and she can pick it up from there and I'll go and do something else. They won't touch it. Because the moment the glass goes on the table, it is supposed to be jhutha. It is supposed to be ashuddha. So they will not touch it. So all these little rules I learned. I knew nothing, For us, I was a very much society person. For us, all this had made no sense to us at that time. But slowly as I entered the path, I started observing, learning, and I said, okay, you can't do this, you can't do that. And you have to be very careful because they are Shuddhacharis and all. You can't just do whatever you think is right, okay? You have to follow because you have to respect what they believe in. So that was one thing I had observed, that if you put it on the table, they will not touch it. You have to give it in their hand. Then you have to get another glass and give them. Then there were certain sadhus who would not enter a house where non-vegetarian was cooked. They would do, I remember one lady sadhu had asked me that so-and-so in Ma's devotee has invited me to their house. So what do you think? What do they do over there? Do they cook any non-vegetarian? I said, yes, they do. But obviously since you're going, they're not going to do any of that. Well, no, I can't go because that house has those vibrations of the non-vegetarian food. So I will not enter that house. I said, oh my God, I said something to you now, So, no, I'm glad you said that. That's why I was asking you. So I said, okay, but they have called you for darshan of their mandir, and I'm sure they have a separate entrance to the mandir because they are a huge house. And you don't have to go through the main door and enter their house. You can just, from the back door, I think they have a back door which leads just in the mandir, not via the house, Well, if it is like that, why don't you check? I said, okay, I'll find out. And they did have a door like that where you could just enter the mandir. She said, I won't go alone, you have to come with me. I said, okay. So we went, and there was a staircase which led to their house, and the door opened straight in the mandir. So that's how we went. And so they are very particular. If there's any non-veg or anything cooking in the house, they will not enter. So onion, garlic, they will not enter. So cooking for them is a lot of fun. It was, for me, it was a lot of fun because you are so vigilant. Everything has to be cooked in milk, how the protocol goes, how do you serve them. You can't goof up when you're serving, and 4 or 5 people can't be serving. If you are serving one thing, you go on serving that. Somebody else is serving something else, but they all have to be shuddh. Firstly, you have to have a bath and go in the kitchen. You can't just go without a bath, because I see nowadays, everybody does whatever they want to do. They haven't even had a bath, and they go to the kitchen and they start cooking. And that is not done, because we are talking about shuddhi. Tan ki bhi shuddhi honi chahiye, man ki bhi shuddhi honi chahiye, na? So tan ki shuddhi is very important. So, these are little rules that I thought, since I learned, why don't you learn from me now? In case if you don't know, I'm sure most of you know all this, but I thought I'd talk about it today because it is very interesting, how to serve them. फिर वो लोग जब घर आते हैं तो उनको दान दक्षिणा देते हैं, वस्त्र देते हैं, श्रीफल देते हैं, which is नारियल. Then you give them sweets, you give them flowers, you give them dry fruits or fruits depending on your budget and what you need to do with them. So, that swagat has to be done properly, because it's like Bhagwan entering your house. Sannyasis and Mahatmas are not ordinary people. So you have to give that kind of bhav. Bhav se to jagat hai na. So bhav is about doing all these things. Not that they are demanding nothing. But I do know of certain cults, certain sampradayas, certain sadhus, mahatmas who belong to different cults. They demand. I was amazed when I heard all that they say, when we come, we'll have 100 people with us who will be dining over here, and we need all the things. We need the appetizers, we need proper lunch. Lunch may there have to be 50 different items. And oh my God, because there was some devotee that I know of who had mentioned all this to me, and I was very surprised, because this doesn't happen in Ma's ashram, at least. When they come, they don't have those kind of demands at all, okay? But because of your own bhav, you're doing all that, because you enjoy doing it for them. So, so first I used to ask them, is it that you eat everything, or is it that you don't eat certain things? Please let me know, so that I know what to cook and what not to cook. Like certain sadhus, they don't have any kind of anna, only vegetables. So then I had made only vegetables for them, So it was different also for people. It's not like the same thing. How will you manage and cope up if you don't know cooking? So cooking is very important. You have to know how to cook. थोड़ा करके सीखो, पर सीखना पड़ता है, Tomorrow, who knows? Ma will send somebody to you and you will say, I don't know anything, then what will you do? And if you're a non-Brahmin, it's not that only Brahmins can cook. If you're a non-Brahmin, cook everything in milk. And that is okay, allowed. Don't put salt in anything. And they will put their own salt, but cook everything in milk. So, these are little rules, little protocol, how you give them respect, how you serve them. It's very interesting. I've written down a few points for you so that I don't forget, This room was also cleaned completely with Ganga Jal. Now I have a photograph with me where Swami Ji is eating in this room, So I'm going to hunt for that photograph, and if I find it, I'll attach it at the end of the video. If I find it, it must be in my photo gallery, where he's sitting and having Ma's bhog. I had put the thali in front of him, and he said, what is this? So I said, this is Ma's bhog. So he was quite happy, but they carry their own thalis. Swami Bhaskaran used to carry his lakde ka thali. It was a wooden thali with a wooden katori and wooden everything. Now even when I was serving them, it would be in kele ka pan, ya patrel, ya dadiya, not in our regular plates. They will not eat. You know, if you serve them in some sadhus, some saints do eat. Like Ashok Baba eats, you know. If I give him anything to eat in, he sits on the table. So there are certain people who do and certain saints who don't. So Swamiji used to always carry his lakde ka thali, you know. It was a wooden thali. So you'll see that in the picture. You know, I have that photograph. And he's eating, you know, so I clicked him. He doesn't like that, but, you know, he allowed me to click him at that time because he was eating in this very room. So if I find the photograph, I'll definitely attach it, see it, you know. It's nice to have darshan like that. So that's all, I think. Let me see if I've covered. Yes, Bhaskaranji, I forgot one point. Whilst cooking also, how do you wash your vegetables, and you know, how do you clean your vegetables, wash them, and how do you chop? So you see, I had learned it obviously, you know, since I was cooking and all that, I knew how to wash and everything, but he said, no, you have to see what I'm doing. I said, okay, show me. So when he had come once to Bombay, we were cooking together, like I had mentioned earlier also, Brahm Khichdi we had made together. So he told me कि एक बार नहीं vegetables धोना है, उसको 3-4 बार पानी में ऐसे 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 करके धो, you know. So I said, Swamiji, I do. He says, no, show me. So 3-4 times you have to take fresh water again and again and again and wash all your sabzis in it after you chop them. Wash it nicely, you know, scrub, wash, take it out, and then throw away the water. And how do you chop also? He says, Brahma Khichdi mein to badi sabziyan hoti hai. You can't chop chota, tiny pieces. No, we want big pieces. So for every recipe, everything, chopping is different also. You know, it's not, so many things I learned. It's not what you think, chalo kata aur phek diya, you know. It's not like that. You have to chop properly, you have to do things. And some places you can chop roughly because it's not required, then it's fine, you know. So all these little things Swamiji used to tell me. So see, food is so important, you know, the right kind of thing. And it's fun to learn. So I think I've covered all that today. I thought I'll talk about it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Jai Ma, let me know. Om Bhavatava Pranashinne Ananda Ghanamurtaye Jnana Bhakti Pradayine Matastubhyam Namo Namaha. Jai Ma, Jai Ma.